Hey, everybody. Hey, listen. So glad to come to you on this first live I'm doing using StreamYard, actually. Um, I wanted to drop back in and kind of revisit some of the planning questions or planning points I wanted to make. Early in the year, a few months ago, I went ahead and dove into the topic of year-end planning versus doing those New Year's resolutions we all talk about, but we never follow through on. Well, I shouldn't say we all. Maybe you do, but I haven't so much. So anyway, I wanted to drop back in here and give you some thoughts about that I think are important to help you get to those ultimate goals for the year or resolutions, or what your intentions are for the life you'd like to have. How do you reach those career goals that you've been trying to reach? And how do you um, obtain that life you're trying to live and reach those dreams? So I have a few thoughts to share with you on that. So let me go ahead and bring up something in the stream here. So let me ask you these questions. Do you feel like it's a battle for you to reach these goals and dreams on a constant basis? Do you feel like there are other people's demands on your day and things that kind of intercept your plans and blow them out of the water, sideswipe your day, other people's agendas? Are you discouraged and feeling burned out with your job, your career, or even life in general? This year in particular, there's been lots of challenges this past year with the pandemic. Are you feeling stuck and burned out? I've seen a lot of people post those kind of comments on social, and I've had a lot of conversations with people feeling just so ripped apart by this whole situation. And then a lot of us having to pivot and work remotely, and the additional challenges that bring out that I think really amplify the challenges that we have meeting those goals and objectives we have for our lives. So anyway, here's some thoughts I just wanted to share with you about how I think we can do better. So how can you realize your goals and dreams? I think it really gets down to not having all this head knowledge about how we do these things, but how do we put these things in practice on a daily basis, and how do we really head off problems that we all struggle with on a daily basis. So what are some key elements I think that need to be in your mind and in your daily practice? First of all, you need to build a system that works for you. Now, I remember having conversations with people in my work life. Now I'm sort of semi-retired doing this podcast, but I remember that we would have people come into my office and they had all different ways of planning their day. Some people were highly structured. Some people were much more improvisers, I would say. I knew a guy, he probably, if he sees this, he'll know exactly who he is, who had multiple pages on a yellow pad of a to-do list. He could keep track of that pretty well. But in general, I think the advice that you get at times is sort of a one size fits all. And I'm really against that. I think you really know how you're wired internally and come up with a system that works best for you to plan your day and plan your week. However, with that being said, I do think there are certain time horizons that make sense. We really do have to have that Stephen Covey concept firmly implanted in us, that we want to look back and think about what we want to achieve in life and have that view at the end in mind. So to do that, we need to break these things up into different time buckets and work our way backward to the present. So what are those daily, weekly, and monthly things you want to accomplish? Have those things in your system. Also, we really need to focus on one thing at a time. There's been a lot of talk about multitasking. People tell you need to be able to handle more than one thing at a time. In reality, that doesn't really work. In my experience, it doesn't work. And as much as we think we can do things more than one thing at a time, we really can't. Even computer systems on this computer here, they may be very fast at switching between processes, but they're working on one thing at a time. Yes, we can do parallel processing, but human beings don't work that way. And we really work best and accomplish more at the end of the day by protecting chunks of time to work on one thing in a very focused way. There's a good book called Deep Work, by the way, by Hal Enrod, I think it is. I'll put that in the notes after I finish this live. You might want to check that out, which I think really he brings a lot of great insight into this topic. We really need to think about pulling rather than pushing. So pull things that we want to accomplish into that protected zone of right now in the moment and focus our energies towards completing one thing at a time. And then we want to track completions, not activity. We want to see results, not just activity. We can be really busy and not really get anything of value done. So I think it's really important that we focus and track those completions versus that activity. And then I think we need a weekly practice of looking forward to think, what do I want to get accomplished this week that ties into, well, what do I want to get accomplished this month that ties into, what do I want to get accomplished this year, etc. But what do I want to do this coming week? And then bring forward all of our observations of what worked well the previous week that we just completed. And for me, it's really interesting. I've learned a lot of things since I retired about a year ago, doing this podcast and coaching. I'm not fully engaged like I was when I was heading up IT in different organizations, but I still have learned some things about myself and how easy, for example, how easy I get distracted by looking at new technology and new things. How quickly I chase that age-old analogy of the squirrel and go looking for the squirrel. So to keep myself focused is really important. And I think that's important for most people, but for me in particular, which I'm really wired as an improviser. So it's really something that I need to learn about and have put some additional things in place as I go forward, planning my weeks and month goals going forward. So anyway, I hope that helps. But really put a practice in to take a look at what's happened in the previous week and what your observations are. It's this concept of continual and never-ending improvement. So what I'd like to do then, I hope this has helped. It's a bit of a teaser today, but think about how you do that process. I can share a little bit with you about that, but I'd like to have you comment back in the stream. What are those things that really stand in your way of achieving your goals and your dreams, right? So is it someone who is commanding your schedule? Or is it a boss that's driving you to the ground? Is it a situation where you have other responsibilities and you can't seem to carve out the time? So what I'm going to do next time is talk about more specifically how I do this on a daily basis. But put that comments in your stream if you would. I want to make sure I direct the next thing I do to really address your specific challenges. But here's just a little teaser. One thing I actually do, I use an iPad. And if you can see that, I use an iPad. And what I do is I utilize this iPad to take notes on, and I actually use a pen and I drag and I drop things that I want to accomplish for that week into a daily view bucket. And then I move things out of that as I accomplish it, take some additional notes associated with that accomplishment. Maybe it was bigger than I thought it was. I didn't allow enough time for it. The other thing I do is if I'm waiting for others to close off an item, say, I'm trying to reach out to someone and schedule an appointment. I propose the time, I haven't heard back. I move that out of my focus on right now block, and I pull things into the focus now block from my list for the week. So it gives you a little bit of an idea of my process. You can do this with electronic tools very easily. It's you can use a Kanban view and tool, Trello or something else like that. Or you can do it on a piece of paper, but you tend to have to write a lot. because you can't as easily move things around. So that's something I do. So I hope that helps. But then again, I just want to ask you again, if you could please put into the comments here, what are those real challenges that you're hitting all the time to get in the way of you accomplishing things you want to get done for a week or in your career or in your job? And I'll go back through that and maybe it can get some more specific ideas and thoughts to you. So I hope this has been helpful. And I encourage you to go on to Titans of Transition, see some of the other content. I have interviews with other leaders who are sharing how they've transitioned their career and their life. And there's a lot of great lessons learned there. So please like and subscribe if you go to those areas. I really would appreciate it. And thanks again for being with me. So I look forward to seeing your comments, and we'll try to bring another one of these to you soon. Try to do this on a weekly basis if I can, but first of all, let's get those comments in. I want to make sure I direct what I put out next time. All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Have a great day.